Counting Crows exploded onto the music scene in 1993 with their multi-platinum breakout album, August and Everything After. They've gone on to release 7 studio albums, selling more than 20 million records worldwide, and they're revered as one of the world's most preeminent live touring rock bands. And I am thrilled to have, from the band, Counting Crows, Adam Duritz is my special guest in the Kink Green Room. Adam, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for taking the time. Where are you right now, my friend?
I'm home in New York.
So, Adam, you're probably sick of talking about it, but something mighty monumental happened for you back in 2019. I'm not talking about writing the new songs for the new record. You gave yourself a haircut, the first one in 30 years. What motivated you? The dreads are gone.
Jet lag, probably. I'm not sure. I landed in London. We finished our last gig that August, and then I flew straight to London. My girlfriend was jet lagged. She went to sleep. My friend, we were at his house in London. He was at work. I was trying to stay awake. I went, washed my face. I was thinking of taking a shower, and I looked over and I saw the Clippers, and I just thought.
And for those of you who cannot see Adam Duritz right now, he's miming giving himself a haircut.
And that was that. You know, I took a shower after that and woke my girlfriend up and scared the shit out of her, I'd say.
How heavy were they? Those were some pretty impressive dreadlocks. That must have had some weight to them.
Yeah, I mean, they were like the best part of my life for so long. You know, I mean, I'm dissociative, so, you know, I have a lot of problems. But one of them that from a very young age, since before I even knew anything about that, I would look in the mirror and feel like that doesn't seem like me. You know, it just didn't look like who I thought I was.
Interesting.
You know, and when I had dreads, I remember distinctly looking in the mirror one day and thinking, oh, now that is me. You know, that feels like me.
Wow.
And it was a really good feeling. But I also had that for 30 years, you know, and when I shaved them off, I couldn't pass a sink without sticking my head under the tap. For months and months, I just wanted to get my head wet all the time and then just dry it real quickly, because instead of taking 6 hours, it took 20 seconds to dry it. And I did it. I like be in a friend's house, and I would just like, you know what, I'm just gonna. I did it all the time.
That's
so
really
it was really
funny.
nice.
Did you save them?
I did, and I actually left them accidentally in my friend's house in London in a plastic bag, and I just got them a few weeks ago. I was over in London for the last month on the farm, and I was writing. And on one of the last days we were there, we drove up to London for the night. I sang on the new Gang of Youths record. They were recording it there. And I found in the closet there, I found the bag of dreads. My girlfriend's like, yeah, it's okay. Just throw them out. I'm like, no, we need to keep these.
No way.
No, I think we need to throw them out. She goes, in fact, we should probably make some sort of art installation with them and put them up on the walls. And she's like, I'll kill you.
No, you put them in some kind of glass case like a museum.
I offered to give one to her right then and there so she could have it to hold on the plane with her, keep her warm. She's like, I will cut you.
Well, you mentioned the farm, Adam. The new EP is called Butter Miracle Sweet One. That's where you wrote the songs, this farm in England, right?
Yeah, it is.
So were you all by yourself?
Well, I mean, I was over there a lot. And some of the time my girlfriend was there. Some of the time my friend was there with his family. It's his farm. But a lot of the time I was there by myself, just with a couple dogs.
Now you're a city fella. Was it weird, all that silence and being alone? Was it spooky?
I don't know about spooky. It was very weird. There was one night, you know, we cook for ourselves when we're over there a lot, and they have these cornfields, which most of the cornfields are they're actually game feed, like for pheasants. But they had planted one field of actually summer corn for us to eat, you know, like to pick from. And so one night we were cooking, and I was actually doing some venison, and I said to my girlfriend, you know what, this would be great with some corn. I'm going to take the gator and go out to the cornfield. And it's about like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So
have you ever seen a horror film, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think of it at the time. She's like, I don't really feel like going. I'm already in my slippers. I said, okay, I'll go. I took the gator out there. I got to the cornfield. By the time you get there, you know, it's a farm in the west of England. It's pitch dark.
Wow.
And so I had to park at first I got out and just started looking for it. And then I went back to the Jeep and turned the Jeep, faced it to the field and turned the lights on so I could at least see something. But in a way that was worse, because you're walking through a field and all you can see when you turn back around is headlights. You know, it's like they blind you. Man, walking around a cornfield picking corn in the dark, that is no joke. That is, I mean, you're right. it is every horror film come to life. And that is exactly my experience that night.
That legitimately gave me chills. So you're talking about cooking. I read that during the quarantine, you really spent some time perfecting your cooking skills.
Yeah, I mean, I've always cooked, but, I've always been, okay. But I really woke up a couple months into this and said, I'm really afraid I'm just going to climb out of the house a year and a half from now when this is all over and I'll have done nothing. And I can't do that. I'm going to learn to cook everything. And I just started, all the time and the effort that I usually put into research for the podcasts, I put into research, like looking up, reading recipes and making my own recipes and learning to cook things, Chinese food, then Thai food. I had a pretty good base in Italian food, but I did a lot of that, a lot of like Mexican and Latin cooking. I just really brisket.
Oh, wow.
I cooked a lot of stuff.
Thai is tricky, isn't it? Getting that perfect balance of the Thai flavors.
It is, and they're all kinds of flavors you've never used before. There are all these different ingredients that you've never touched. Coconut milk, the different curries, lemongrass, Thai basil. There's all the stuff that you've never worked with before, so you have no idea how potent any of it is. And that was really interesting. It was really cool, though.
So since we know that food always tastes better with lots of butter, is that why you named the EP Butter Miracle? Does that have any connection?
It does not, but you're right about the butter. Right.
Do you have an explanation for the title of the EP, Butter Miracle Sweet One?
I do. I'm not telling you.
All right, none of my business.
I decided not to tell anybody. I really love the surreal nature of the title and the imagery it conjures up in my head, and I have specific reasons for it. But if I tell people, it'll just make it mean only that, as opposed to all the other stuff it could be. I've decided on this one record, I'm not telling anybody.
I love that. I love the album cover too. I love the artwork.
Oh, she did. That's Beth Hokel, who's an artist, Hoeckel. My girlfriend turned me on to her a while ago, and she seemed like perfect. The kind of like collage stuff she does was so perfect for this, and she just hit it out of the park. I mean, it's just a great, including all the way down to that really disturbingly long, threatening butter knife.
So true.
That is the most threatening butter knife I have ever seen. That is a truly grim-looking butter knife.
You could have used that in the cornfield.
Yeah, it done me no good whatsoever. Thank God there really aren't any predators in England, which is a nice thing.
Well, that we know of.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, of course, those kind. Yes, but
Adam, let's talk about Counting Crows' early days. Even after the huge success of your first album, August, and everything after, is it true that you still occasionally tended bar at LA's Viper Room?
No, not occasionally. Pretty much every night for years. Almost every night. Well, they were the only people I really knew well. I had made friends with a lot of the people that ran that place early on when we were first touring. Some of the bartenders there, the owners, like Johnny Depp and Sal Janko. And, when I got home from a year and a half of touring on August and everything after, it was kind of Beatlemania in the Bay Area for us. And it was, there was no way to go anywhere without it being an issue. The grocery store, it just didn't matter. Like people were everywhere. And
that must be hard to process. That must be really difficult.
It was just hard to go anywhere. There were kids camped out on our lawn. And I got a phone call one day after I'd been back from tour about 6 days, I think, 7 days maybe. And it was Johnny Depp and Sal Janko on the phone. And they started to invite me to this party. And then they could tell something was wrong. And they asked me and I explained it to them. And they said, hang on, we're going to put you on hold. And I sat there on the phone for like 5 minutes. I didn't know what was going on. And then they came back on the line and they told me, we got you a reservation on the 7:00 flight from Oakland to Burbank. We got you a room at the Bel Age behind the Viper Room. Someone will be there at the airport to pick you up. We'll get someone to go out there and pick you up. Just pack your stuff. You need to get the hell out of there.
What great friends.
Come down here. And the party that night was actually Kate Moss's 21st birthday party, so it basically meant that it was the guys I knew at the Viper Room was closed that night. It was just like friends. It was like Tom Petty was there though. And Billy Gibbons and the Hughes brothers, the director's team who did Dead Presidents and and basically every famous supermodel that existed. And it was they welcomed me to LA. I never went home again really. And since I used to go there and hang out every night because And after a while, it was just less crowded on the bar side, and most of my friends were the people that worked there. And so I started hanging out on that side. And then at one point, my friend Shannon McManus, who was the bartender, said, she had to go to the bathroom. She's like, will you tend the bar? And I said, sure. I knew how to do everything. I worked the cash register. I made her so much money in tips that night that she's like, come back and do it tomorrow. And so I did it every night. I made incredible tips for all the bartenders there.
Sweet of you.
I don't mind browbeating people,
Right.
So I did it for years. That was where my friends were. Eventually I met a lot of other people in LA, probably because I was behind the bar there.
Yeah.
But it was just a great place. It was like a clubhouse for all of us. It just was low key, nice people, really creative people. I met so many interesting. I met William Burroughs there. I met Allen Ginsberg. It was pretty cool.
Super cool. I'm almost out of time with you. I do want to ask this question. A lot of the artists I've spoken to, Adam, over the years, tell me they're just constantly writing music. I mean, almost every day they're writing a song. Most of them, of course, never see the light of day, but they're just constantly writing music. Your process is entirely different. I've read that you only are writing songs for the most part when you're working on an album. How do you turn the creative faucet on and off like that?
Oh, I don't know. I used to write all the time, but once we started touring, largely because I don't play guitar, I play piano. It's hard to bring a piano into your hotel room every night. You can't really. Yeah. So I would not write on tour. Also, it takes so much like physical effort to play gigs every night for a year and a half. My voice doesn't hold up. I can't really write much while I'm touring. So I wouldn't write for a while. And that just sort of started a thing where like I just wouldn't write for a year and a half or more. And then I would take some time off from touring, and then I would write a record and we'd make it. But since that day, since our first record was released, I haven't been one of those guys who wrote every day anymore. Mostly I just wouldn't write, and then I would write an album, we'd record it, and then I would go on tour, and then I wouldn't write, and then I would write an album. It's kind of always been that way. There were some exceptions when we were in LA. I wrote some one-off stuff for movies. But mostly, I wrote a lot of the Josie and the Pussycat songs, and I wrote stuff for Rounders,
wow.
Shrek, I guess, obviously. But yeah, a lot of the time I just didn't write.
That's fascinating to me. We're out of time. Speaking of touring, you guys are going back out on tour next month. You'll be in our area at McMenamins Edgefield on August 31st. Touring is grueling. Are you excited, or does it seem daunting?
No, I'm really looking forward to playing because I miss playing. And, most of our band and crew are the same guys they've been for 20, 30 years. So those are like my family, and I haven't seen them for a while. I have some concerns about, when I planned this out, the vaccines had come out and the numbers were going down every day. And I thought by this time we'd be in good shape. The variant sort of changed some of that. And, now I know that vaccination is everybody's personal choice, but, I would like everybody to come out and see shows. And that might not be a safe place to be if you're unvaccinated within a large crowd of people packed together. So I would prefer if people all got vaccinated because, you're going to be around a lot of people. It's not like you're going to be safe by yourself at home.
Right.
And this is mostly right now, it's just unvaccinated people who are coming down with COVID, and it's very, very dangerous. And I know I would like people to get back to coming to shows because bands need it. There's a whole industry there that was out of work for a year and a half, like a lot of industries.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that they'll be safe. And, I wasn't going to push the vaccination thing because, the more people that got vaccinated, the numbers are just going down. But this variant has made it, they've gone right back up again, and it's only people who are unvaccinated, pretty much.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I'm not concerned about us. We're backstage. We're okay. But I feel I don't want people to get sick at our shows. I hope they come and get themselves vaccinated, take care of themselves.
Let's hope.
Still time.
Let's hope. Adam, thank you so much for taking the time. You're a good man. Can't wait to see you in August. Take good care of yourself, my friend.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Thank you. See you.